Marriage is work. So it's continuous. You don't end the preparation for a good marriage after the ceremony where you are declared a husband and wife. No, more work goes into it because every day there will be surprises.
Divorce is a complex and emotionally charged process that often involves legal battles over various issues, including family law and custody arrangements. As relationships break down, individuals must find legal considerations, from property division to child custody agreements. Understanding the intricacies of family law and custody battles is crucial for those going through divorce and for legal professionals tasked with resolving these disputes. In this discussion, we will delve into the complexities of divorce, exploring the challenges faced by individuals and families as they navigate the legal landscape of ending a marriage. This is Legal Agenda, and my name is Matilda Boate-Nati. I have with me here a private legal practitioner, lawyer, Senna Hotel, to help me with this important discussion, and Reverend Kato from SEM. He is the resident pastor at SEM. Gentlemen, you are welcome to Legal Agenda.
Thank you.
So I will start with lawyer. Lawyer, are there any legal requirements for one to follow before you can really say that a marriage is over? Because after the fanfare, after all the things that accompanies the celebration of marriage, are there any requirement for anyone to follow before they can say that this marriage is over? Because I don't know whether it's becoming a trend. After 1 year, after 6 months, people just decide, I can't do with this marriage anymore. I'm quitting. I'm getting out. Are there any legal requirement for one to follow? Because when you are celebrating the marriage, we spoke about it in our previous episode that there are requirements for one to follow. So when it comes to divorce too, are there any requirement for one to follow?
Thank you, Matilda, and thanks for having me back on your show. It's always a pleasure to be able to shed some lights on legal topics that are beneficial to your viewers and then the entire nation and the globe as a whole. Yes, to the topic, every good thing and happy thing has some form of an end. And divorce or marriage is no exception. All marriages come to an end at a point, whether it's a happy marriage or a not so happy marriage. It either comes to an end naturally by death or induced by the parties involved. And one of such processes of inducing the determination or termination of a marriage is through divorce. And yes, once you have gone through a legal process to create something like marriage, if you want to dissolve it in what we call divorce, in a process called divorce, you have to go through a process prescribed by law.
Okay.
And that process prescribed by law for dissolving a marriage applies to all the forms or types of marriages.
Okay.
Usually people think that I can only get a divorce for church marriage or the one that I go to court to sign for.
Yes.
But no, you can get a court divorce process for even your customary marriages.
Right.
What we call traditional marriage. When you do just that alone, and then for some reason you do not want to continue again, or both parties have concluded that the marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation and that they should be allowed to go their separate way, the law prescribes a channel and an approach for you to do that.
Okay.
By going through that process and channel, you get the opportunity not only to talk about or obtain the remedy of dissolution of that marriage.
Okay.
But you also get the opportunity to discuss issues like custody of the children
Okay.
or child. Who gets to keep the child? Who gets visitation rights?
Okay.
Who doesn't? And so on and so forth. You also get the opportunity to discuss matters of matters in relation to who pays the legal fees for the whole proceedings. You also get the opportunity to discuss matters like compensation. You know, the law prescribes a situation or a scenario where if you've been with a person and then you have met certain requirements over a period of time which has crystallized, when the marriage breaks down, it doesn't apply to everybody anyway, but if the marriage breaks down, you'll be entitled to walk away with something. And mind you, it doesn't apply to only the female.
Okay.
It applies also to the male.
Okay.
Yes, and you also get the opportunity to talk about property.
Okay.
And discuss who gets what at the end of the day, who takes what home. And so it's a holistic,
Okay.
you know, approach to dissolving a matter.
Okay.
And for that matter, there are a number of laws. It's not just one. There are a number of laws from the 1992 Constitution, from the Marriages Act, even the Children's Act.
Okay.
You know, all of that come together to help prescribe a mode for dissolving marriages in Ghana.
Okay. So specifically, we want to know what are some of the things the court will look out for before they can agree to the dissolution of marriage.
Okay. So the court looks at just one thing.
Okay.
Contrary to what people think, you can write all what you want to write. You can speak all what the flowery language or whatever you want to speak in court.
Yeah.
But the court is only concerned with just one thing.
Okay.
Because the court is not in a hurry or in the business of dissolving people's marriages.
Okay.
The court didn't put you together. And for the Christians who believe in the Adam and Eve story, even when a problem arose, one party pointed the other. So there's this joke that we say that these days nobody looks for a spouse for another. And so the court is not in a hurry to dissolve, to even grant it. And so there are circumstances where the court will even, you know, recommend or prescribe that you go for mandatory counseling.
Okay.
Because the sole ground for breaking or dissolving a marriage is that the marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. The key word is beyond reconciliation.
Okay.
And there are about 6 facts in law that can be used to establish or prove that a marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation.
Okay.
So all what you describe can be fit under these 6 facts that can be used to explain that a marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. The one of the first ones, which I believe and have said on several platforms, is one of the leading causes of dissolution of marriages or divorces in Ghana is adultery. And so when you look at the cases, and without any empirical data, as I would always say, if you look at the cases that come before you, and on a good day, if you look at the number of cases that are filed at the divorce matrimonial courts, you would realize that majority of them, at least more than 70% of them, are grounded on adultery. So they may have adultery and other things in there, or adultery solely as the reason. And I would run through the 6, and if we have time, we'll delve into the nitty-gritties as to what the court will look out for. So, for example, if you come to court and you say your husband or your wife has committed adultery, what does it mean? What does the court look at? Are there timelines within which the court will say that, yes, your spouse may have committed adultery, but the time has lapsed for you to bring the application based on adultery because you've stayed with them beyond 6 months where it is considered that you have reconciled. Okay, so 1, adultery. The other one is unreasonable behavior. So there are certain behaviors that a party within a marriage exhibits that one other person, one of them, finds it intolerable to be able to live with a person anymore.
Okay.
And so a behavior can constitute unreasonable behavior. But once the other person doesn't find it intolerable, then you cannot rely on that to tell the court that a marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. Because, yes, what you consider your tolerance level may be different to my tolerance level. And no two marriages are the same. So what you would consider intolerable in your marriage, another person finds it tolerable. And so it's not things that are cast in stone. It borders on what the party finds as intolerable. And there is a concept in law that says that we are not concerned, the law is not concerned about de minimis issues, things that are so infinitesimal, things that are so small and trivial, that are the everyday incidents of marriage. So those things are not what we consider to say that, you know, it's an unreasonable behavior, but things that are weighty in law. So that's a snapshot of unreasonable behavior, and behavior that is considered unreasonable. And then we also have separation. So if you separate from your partner for 5 years, then we say that if you've been away from your partner for 5 years, I mean, Reverend, what are you trying to put across? So the law says that if you can use that, if you find that behavior intolerable, then you can use that as a grounds to approach the court, the Temple of Justice, and tell them that, look, my partner has left me. For the last 5 years, we have not lived together as man and wife. And when I say man and wife, it includes performing conjugal duties and other things that constitute the whole marriage scenario. And so that's about that for separation for 5 years. There are other details which, if time permits, we'll discuss. And then there is also separation for 2 years. So the difference here between 2 and 5 is that for separation for 2 years, if you bring an action for separation for 2 years, you must get the consent of the other party to say that, yes, I have left. I have, left the matrimonial home on my own without the consent of the other partner, and that I am not coming back. So they've signed, and then that's it. But for 5 years, you don't need to sign. You don't need any consent from. If you've gone away for 5 years, then you don't intend to come back. I don't even need you. I may not even know where you are to look for you to sign or consent. But remember that the issue of consent in the 2 year situation or the scenario, is that you cannot unreasonably withhold that consent. So you cannot say that, yeah, I'm gone, but I won't sign, so that he can sit there for 5 years.
So you mentioned, you are not done, right?
No, I am
mentioned
not.
4 points.
Exactly.
We have 6.
Yes.
But I want to touch on the unreasonable behavior. Unreasonable behavior has been defined as a conduct that gives rise to injury to life, limb, or health, or conduct that gives rise to a reasonable apprehension of such danger. Reverend, you have so many situations where, especially the women, they come to their church, their pastors, that this is what my husband is doing to me, this is what my partner is doing to me. Sometimes it's not even about the physical touch, but sometimes it's about the emotional drain that the person will be going through. And they come to their church, and the pastor is like, no, you cannot go through that, you cannot divorce. Divorce is a sin. Comparing that or linking that to the legal requirements, we want to know how the church comes in with regards to divorce. When a church member comes to report that they are going through this issue, an unreasonable behavior from their spouses, because we've had a number of cases where a lot of people have lost their lives because of unreasonable behavior, not just adultery, but the unreasonable behavior of their partners. And they come and their pastors are like, this is nothing. Your husband is not committing adultery, or your partner is not committing adultery. So why do you want to leave the marriage? Let's see a way of solving it. How should the church handle such situations?
Thank you very much, madam. My church, my bishop will tell you, you shouldn't die. So anything that can take your life, you run for your life.
Okay.
So like the unreasonable behavior, if it is abusive, if it is something that is eating you up, affecting your health, that can lead to death, we advise you find a way out. So, fine. When you come, we will not immediately tell you to go and pack your bag and baggages and leave.
Okay.
Because the church is there. One of the things, cardinal things the church deals with is repentance. Turning around, recognizing your wrong, and working to make it right. So when you come and you bring such issues, it's our duty to invite your spouse. And mind you, we are not only looking at the woman. We are looking at both. Because sometimes the problem is the woman. The woman is also tormenting the man's life with an unreasonable behavior.
Lawyer will tell us that he has been handling such cases.
So we will invite the other partner and engage. You know, some people with some counseling, with some help to stop, they do. So we will start on that footing by trying to engage. But when we see one has purposed not to turn around, not to stop, but their agenda.
Reverend, what do you mean by when you see? After how many slaps?
Oh, it's not about slaps. You know, when as a church or as men of God, if you engage the person, you don't need more than 2 meetings to know this person is determined to do something. Some people want the partner out, but because they don't want to be the ones to initiate it, so they are just tormenting you. When you get fed up, you opt out, so they don't owe any obligation or any compensation or whatever it is. So when you meet the person, by the second meeting, you will know. You will know that this person is deliberately doing this just to get the other person frustrated, and then they pack and leave. So we will get on that footing through counseling. Some people too is out of ignorance, is out of wrong influence. Like maybe somebody now have started drinking, humanizing, close from work, will not come home early, doesn't pay the children's school fees, doesn't take care of utilities, has left everything to the other partner to do. It may come out of wrong influence. They may be doing wrong and not knowing it is wrong because there is a voice that is negatively impacting their life. They didn't used to be like that. Now they've gotten involved with a friend from work. So let's go and sit somewhere. Let's get a glass of beer and take the glass of beer. The friend invites other friends of the opposite sex. They come through conversation. Now some ungodly relationships now ensued, and then it leads to that. Some of them, when you engage them, they come back to themselves and realize that no, they're on the wrong path.
Okay, but lawyer mentioned that divorce, adultery is also one cause of.
Yes, for that one, that is what the Bible prescribes.
Mostly, yes, but the situation is different. People bring adultery cases to pastors, especially the men, and with this influx of side chick now becoming normal in Ghana, when people bring issues like that, how does the church handle that?
Side chick is not normal with the church. Bible prohibits it.
So would you allow your church member to go ahead with the divorce proceedings?
Okay.
So that their partners have committed adultery.
It still comes back to what I said. There are people who have gotten themselves into this side chick issue based on peer pressure, negative influence. You draw the attention to it, they turn around. But if after you've engaged them, they still continue with it, then you should know. There's a story I heard where a man was misbehaving, getting himself in this side chick issue, extramarital affairs, and comes to the wife and tells the wife, so can't you see I'm misbehaving? Can't you see I have a lot of girlfriends? Won't you say something and maybe possibly pack your bag and leave? And the wife said, I've chosen not to see it.
Okay.
Once you go and you return, you know you have a family. You come back to your family. It only means that we are the priority in your life. They have just decided to misbehave. Okay. So you think I should see. I've also chosen not to see. So you see, the man wanted the woman to stand on something to opt out so he can continue to misbehave. Yeah. Or he can have his way for some reason best known to himself. Yes. But the woman also chose
not to see
that because you want this, I won't give it to you.
Okay.
You understand? It is your time, it is your money. You go spend it. But for me to grant you divorce, so the property we have acquired together, you benefit from it and still go and use it to misbehave. I have chosen not to see it. So we don't condone the church. That is the last thing we will do. Okay. Side chick, side guy, whatever it is, we don't condone. Okay. The Bible, from the beginning, Jesus said in Matthew 19 that divorce was not an option. All right. God's intention for marriage was for a lifetime, till death do you part. Okay. So he said the man will leave his father and mother and be joined to the woman, and they both will be one flesh, one focus, one vision, one dream, one purpose. They fight for one thing. Anybody that tries to come in is an enemy to both. Yes, but because of the hardness of man's heart, Moses granted that. Then it should only be because of adultery or fornication. When one person goes out of wedlock to do other things, then it is granted. Wow. So once Bible has prescribed that, we stand for it. Okay. Yes, but like what you are saying, in our day and time, they may not commit adultery, but they are doing other things that is eating you up. Yeah. Why die? No. Okay. You can't die and let the person still continue with what they want to do. Don't die. Anything that will take your life, destroy your life, it is not of God. Please, you can come out.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll go for a very short break and we'll come back. When we come back, we are going to allow lawyer to give us the other 2 points, which will help anyone going through divorce processes to have his marriage dissolved. Then also we will discuss custody of children when the divorce actually occurs or there is a dissolution of marriage. How are the children handled by the courts? And if properties have also been acquired, how are the properties shared between the couple? We'll be right back.
Everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment. Wow. Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist cupcakes, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy. Oh,
McBerry Twist cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from the break. We've been discussing divorce and custody of children, and we have lawyer Sena Hoto, a private legal practitioner. We have Reverend Reverend Kato from SEM, who is helping us to discuss this very important topic. Before we went on break, lawyer, you mentioned 4 points. You mentioned that we have 6 requirements for one's marriage to be dissolved by the courts, and you gave us 4 points. Can you add the other 2? Then we move to custody of children and how property should be shared among the couple.
Okay. So we have the 2 other ones, which are what in law we call desertion. Okay. I think it has the very basic English definition of desertion as it is, except that it also has some legal requirements that you need to meet to be able to say that a person has deserted the marriage. Okay. So when you pack up your stuff and then you leave a marriage, and without the consent of your partner,
Okay.
then you would have said to have deserted.
Okay.
But there are also situations where the man and the woman are living in the same house, but one person has packed up all his things and moved to another room, and another is staying in the other room. This one doesn't cook for the other person. This one doesn't cook also for the other person, because I believe cooking should be mutual anyway.
Okay.
So, and
The typical African man will not be happy with these points.
well, once you can fry egg, you meet the requirement. Yes, and then, you know, so you may not have moved out
Okay.
physically,
Okay.
but then you have moved out emotionally, and then you have moved out, you know, physically of a sort as well.
Okay.
And so we can, if that occurs for a period of time, we can also say that you have deserted.
Okay.
Then there is that situation where you want to sack your spouse from the house,
Okay.
but you don't want people to say you are the one who did it.
You are the bad one.
You're the bad one. So you put them through a very nasty situation, and then one afternoon or evening you come back from work and he or she has packed everything else and left, and you end up going to say, like we say in Ghana,
you
you
left.
know, I didn't do anything. He just packed up his stuff and left. There is the concept of constructive desertion. So the law will presume that it is you rather that has left and not him
Okay.
or her,
Okay.
because your acts are mounted to inducing that person to leave for your own benefit. So that is the desertion. And finally, we have what we call inability to reconcile
Okay.
differences.
Okay.
So there are situations where there's an issue between the parties, and then they find that both of them have different concept about it. They cannot reconcile. Let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
So, you know, in modern times, people go into marriage and then they are not interested in having kids, especially, well, I don't want to tag a gender, but either the male or the female, it goes like, oh, I have my supermodel body, and
Yeah.
I don't think I want to destroy my shape, or I don't want to breastfeed and then, you know, look some way, or I'm not ready for responsibilities. But they don't have those conversations before the marriage.
They don't.
And then fast forward, you know, there is a marriage, and one party is expecting that we have kids. The other person says,
I'm not ready.
no, I thought we had this conversation. I've had a horrible, sometimes it's not even about the physique. Sometimes it's about past experiences.
Okay.
How they may have lost a parent and someone else maltreated them.
Okay.
And so they feel like they don't want to
Let their children go through this.
have any other person come to this life,
Okay.
and they may pass on and someone will treat them that way. And so that, you know, in and on itself is an issue that both of the parties cannot, you know, agree on.
Okay.
So it's not so much about, you know, he cooks banku, I don't like banku, and we can't agree on the size of the rice and all of that. That's not what we mean when we talk about inability to reconcile.
Okay.
These are very serious,
Okay.
weighty matters, like that of childbirth, like the one of one party. They've all lived in, say, New York for a long time, and one party feels like, look, you know what, I'm Ghanaian. I want to come back home. I don't want to stay abroad till I am 99.
Yeah.
And they'll put me in some old age, you know, facility.
Yeah.
I want to come home. The other person says, look,
I can't stay here.
Menye free Ghana Chromo hey. You
I'm
know,
not coming
it
back.
literally means that once I've left with my kid,
I'm
I'm
not
not coming back. So that is an issue that both parties cannot agree on. And that issue has a potential of tearing the
Okay.
marriage apart.
Okay.
And we don't want you having a marriage that looks like a marriage but isn't a marriage
Okay.
in terms of what a marriage should be.
Okay.
And so one person wants to stay here, one person wants, we can't agree on it. So there shouldn't have been a desertion, there shouldn't have been an adultery, there shouldn't have been. And so the concept where divorce should always be acrimonious. It should always be a fight. I think it's one that is gradually phasing out with a new concept of consent divorce. Where parties can agree and say that, look, this is not working. And the court cannot force one person to remain, can't force two parties to remain in a marriage. Once one person is gone, mentally, physically, and emotionally, the marriage is as good as destroyed or broken down. So once that has happened, let's sit down. Let's agree on it. I'm gone or you're gone. Let's talk about the kids. Let's talk about the properties. What do you want? Do you want the Trosako house? Take it. Do you want this one? Take it. I'll keep this one. The kids, I'll keep this child. So there are rules around what the court would allow when it comes to custody, which we will discuss. But the parties have the liberty to decide how they want to run or take care of their children. And so if you say that, okay, I'll give the children to my husband to take care of, that's between the two of you. But if you allow the court to make that decision, the court will not give it to the man. Which when we get there, we'll discuss, more about. So that's a summary of what the grounds that you can use to establish that the marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. Because that's the only requirement that is known to Ghanaian law for dissolving a marriage.
So listening to the 6 grounds that you've mentioned, meaning that the courts don't even fancy granting divorce to couples. Is the church, Reverend, is the church doing enough? Because now the rate at which people marry is the same rate at which people divorce. What is the church doing about it? Is the church doing enough to stop divorce and all these things happening?
The church is doing what we can do. That's why even at the moment where all are invited to witness your marriage, we still go ahead to get your last consent. The preambles or whatever, the statement preceding the exchange of vows, we read and then we ask you, do you still want to go ahead? And you tell us, yes, I want to go ahead. So do you take him, blah, blah, blah? Is there any impediment? All those things is to get it clear that what you are entering into, it is not that the church is putting you together today and the day after you come back that you chose and you don't like. We want you to get all grounds cleared. You've done all your checks and balances. You've done all your inside-out checks, and you are sure of what you are going in. But unfortunately, we are dealing with human beings who go into marriage with all sorts of ideas. Before we came on set, I was talking to lawyer, and lawyer mentioned that some people are even seeking divorce after 4 days. After 4 days of marriage, just at the honeymoon did not even end. The fight broke out and they are seeking divorce. You see, people go into marriage, and as time goes on, people come into marriage with all sorts of ideas. Somebody may be a thief, but he doesn't want to go and rob, so he'll be arrested and sent to prison. So this man is rich, and I want some of his riches and his wealth. Let me trap him and marry him. When I marry him, after some few days, I divorce him and share his property. Oh, this lady is very nice, hardworking, blessed, prosperous. I'm not working. I just want some of her money. So let me trap her, marry her, and after a while. So people go into marriage with all sorts of ideas. And that is what is affecting marriage now. So it looks like the church is not doing their best. But it is the intentions of the people contracting the marriage.
But Reverend, not to cut you, but don't you think that counseling should be a continuous thing? It shouldn't be that when you are just entering the marriage before counseling is
Yeah.
we place premium on
Yeah.
counseling before
The
you.
premarital counseling.
Yes, but after the marriage,
Yeah, the
I think
post-marital.
that there should be counseling throughout the year
Yes.
for couples.
Yeah,
The churches do that. We do that not in the form of calling the couple to come for one-on-one counseling. But that is why churches organize marriage seminars, marriage conferences, where my problem is addressed not because
Some of the marriage seminars, you have to pay for it. So assuming the couple cannot pay for it, what happens?
I can't-
That's what I'm asking. Is the church doing
Yes,
enough?
I can't talk for those ones. But my church, every marriage seminar, conference is free.
Okay.
To the extent that you can even, you the couple, if you realize you have a challenge and you think you need counseling, you can seek for it in my church and you don't pay anything. That is the duty of the church, because the church, we are the stewards of marriage. Marriage is an institution ordained of God. And if the church represents God, then it is our duty to make sure that marriages are sustained, marriages are enjoyed, marriages become as Bible has prescribed it to be. So it should make us better. The two coming together achieves more, and it does not destroy us. So that is the vision of the church. But unfortunately, we have all the time for the premarital counseling. But after marriage, we don't have time again for anything that will help us to build a better marriage. But you know, marriage is work. So it's continuous. You don't end the preparation for a good marriage after the ceremony where you are declared a husband and wife. No, more work goes into it, because every day there will be surprises. You can't use 1 year, 2 years to get to know your spouse enough.
Even 20 years.
Thank you. There are things they do, they themselves don't know they do them. Like somebody sleeping and snoring. There are a lot of people who snore, and when you wake them up, say you are snoring. Say,
Me?
did I snore?
I don't
No,
snore.
unless you record them. And even the recording, if you record audio without video, they will argue. So you record video, they see themselves in it. So
And remember, you know, there are marriages in court awaiting divorce because of snoring.
okay.
You know.
So you see, you must be ready. And like I said, some things can be managed because they won't kill you, they won't destroy you. They are not against the very ethics of marriage. Snoring, who buys it? You understand? You may not even know why you are snoring.
Yeah.
But chemical reactions and body compositions and whatever it is concerning the body can cause you to snore. Can't we just overlook it? Or can't we seek help? Maybe the position of sleep. Some people snore based on the way they lie down on the bed. You understand? So there are trivial things that can be discussed and worked on. But are we willing? Because you can force the horse to the riverside, but you can never force the horse to drink water. There are people who, when you engage them, they pretend they don't understand anything you are saying, just because they know their agenda. They know what they are up to. So for marriage counseling, it's even good you get yourself associated with couple, you admire them and you learn from them, because you may see the outward appearance and think this couple have no issues, but you'll be surprised the issues they are managing in their relationship, because every marriage has issues. I'm telling you. If I want to divorce my wife, even the way she handed over the cup of water to me, I can stand on to divorce her. Even the way she spoke to me when I was with my friends, the way she even entered the room, because maybe I was naked, opening the door, she opened the door wide. I said, don't you know if somebody was behind you, they would have seen my nakedness. But you see, these are things you can easily overlook. So the church is doing its best to make, because look, if any marriage is affected, the church is affected. The church derives its strength from the family unit. Strong family, strong church. Strong husband and wife, strong church. Strong parents and children, strong church. So the stronger the relationship at home, the better the church. You understand? So the church will never wish that marriages are dissolved, marriages break down. Because imagine husband and wife are both leaders of the church, and they break up, but they are in the church. How do you assign them to duties that both of them are good at? That coming together would have advanced the cause of the church. So the church is doing it best, but it's the willingness of the people. We are dealing with human beings. They get so engaged after marriage. I'm busy. They book counseling sessions and they don't attend the counseling sessions. Meanwhile, the counselor is ready. You understand? They give, at the last minute, an excuse is sent. Oh, I was caught up in traffic. I had to attend to this. So the church is doing it best. And the best is through the preaching. The best is through the reading of the scriptures. The best is through the prayers we are saying for the people. The best is through attending seminars and learning. Because you can't stop learning concerning marriage. No, you can't stop learning. So please, let's do well to attend marriage seminars, marriage symposium. And as you said, please, let's do well. The Bible said that freely have we received and freely we should give. If it's within the church setting, it should be free. If anybody is seeking your help professionally, as a professional counselor, that you do it for a living, then please, that one, take your fees. But if it's at the church level, and we are organizing seminars and symposiums within the church setting, I think we should do it for free, so that the knowledge and the experience gained by people who have gone ahead in marriage and by professionals like a lawyer and doctors and co can be brought to bear to benefit the people in the church. Because sometimes the divorce is also medical problem or has a medical base. But there are things we can do. You understand? Before we came on set, 30 seconds, lawyer was whispering to me of some divorces that is due to sexual reasons. The man is not able to satisfy the woman because the woman thinks that the man is not endowed enough to make her happy. But there are ways to go about it. It's not only with the organs. You understand? So seek medical help. Medically, what is advisable to do to make my partner happy? Let's do it. Let's be happy. Let's enjoy. And let's focus on what God wants to do with our marriage. So let's seek help. And let the church be there to help first. If the church is not helping, then you seek professional advice.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Let's be focused and let's be happy. That is my key thing I've taken from this discussion. Thank you so much for helping us discuss this important topic of divorce. We will come to your way again next week. And when we come back, we'll be discussing custody of children and property acquisition. When couples decide to divorce, how should properties be shared amongst them? Thank you for watching.